Chapter 1. At 60 years old, I lay in a sickbed. The surgery required a family member's signature, which allowed me to see my husband after years of separation. Old man, agree to continue the treatment. I still want to be with the kids. James Hahn looked impatient. You troublemaker. I really don't understand what's the point of you living. If it weren't for you threatening me with the marriage contract back then, I could have been with Valentina. Now she has divorced and returned for me. We will soon be together again, so don't delay me any longer. I watched helplessly as my husband signed the agreement to forgo treatment and personally removed my oxygen mask. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back in the 1990s, looking at James, who was tugging at Valentina at the door. I declared firmly, I want to cancel the engagement. In this life, whoever wants to be a good wife can be one. I want to take advantage of the reform and become the first generation of female bosses. When I opened my eyes again, I stared blankly at the zodiac calendar hanging on the wall. March 1997. There is still a week until I marry James. I was shocked as I rushed from the bed to the mirror, staring at my youthful face, my hands showing the delicate skin that hadn't been worn down by housework. I trembled as I raised my hand to cover my heart, nearly brought to tears by my excitement. I haven't stepped into the cage of marriage yet. There is still time. Before I could fully regain my senses, there was a commotion outside the yard. It's James. He excitedly pulled Valentina to confess his feelings. Valentina, for the rest of my life, I will never let go of your hand. After losing you, I realized how much I regret it. Spending a lifetime with someone I don't love is too painful. I don't want to wait until she is 60 to die. In this life, no. I want us to be together right now. Let's go. We'll cancel the engagement right now. James's words struck me deeply. I found myself uncontrollably staring at the still youthful face outside the door. His words revealed an undeniable fact. James has also been reborn. In my previous life, James ruthlessly removed my oxygen mask, yet still pretended to be deeply in love in front of everyone. The arriving doctors and nurses all comforted him. Professor Hahn, you and your wife have supported each other for so many years. We understand that you made this decision out of necessity, unable to bear seeing her suffer any longer. Please accept our condolences. Yes, we all know that the professor is deeply affectionate, and life is long, so you should look forward. But only I know that James was crying simply because he was overly excited. He pretended to be in disbelief, stumbling away with the flowers, trying hard to maintain his image as a good husband and good professor in front of everyone. In fact, he could hardly wait to go to the airport to pick up the woman he had loved for a lifetime. Petals fell to the ground, crushed by James's soles, staining the ground with juice and dirt, just like my ridiculous life. I closed my eyes and completely lost consciousness. The instruments blared. Beep. Thinking of this, I clenched my fists, seeing me standing dazed at the door. My parents thought I was upset and coldly yelled at James. Your Hahn family is truly ungrateful. Over the years, for the sake of our children's marriages, our Sue family has contributed money and manpower to your family. Back when your mother was seriously ill, it was still Monica and I who pulled the cart through the heavy snow to get her to the hospital. Now, you say you don't like Monica anymore? James and I were betrothed by our grandfathers. James comes from a poor family, and they basically rely on borrowing money to get by. My parents, considering the face of this engagement, are also willing to help his family from time to time. Beside me, Valentina looked at James with pity and said aggrievedly, James, you mustn't let our disagreement with Monica affect you. Uncle Sue is right. You have to marry Monica. After all, you've received so much kindness from her family. You need to repay it. Even if I love you deeply, I must let you go. Valentina, the seemingly reasonable words made James look at me with even more disdain. Behind us, Hahn's mother rushed over, panting, raising her hand as if to hit him. Unfilial son. Sue's family has great to us. And Monica Sue even saved my life. If you break off the engagement, our family will have no face to live here. But Hahn's mother's hand was raised again and again, yet she ultimately couldn't bring herself to strike. This is waiting for me to rush up like before, heartbroken, to stop it. Bullshit. I can't wait to personally slap James twice and knock him out. Since I have a chance to start over, I will no longer be his James's virtuous wife. I want to be myself again. All right. I agree to the annulment. Chapter 2. Not just James. Even the others were stunned when they heard my words. The whole street knows that I've liked James since I was a child. How could I so easily agree to the annulment? James asked in disbelief. Monica, can you really bear to annul our engagement? I scoffed. Of course I can't bear it. Valentina, upon hearing this, immediately turned away and pretended to shed a couple of tears. Since Monica is determined to hold on to you and unwilling to let go for your future, I voluntarily withdraw. James, let's break up. James felt heartbroken and pulled her into his arms. He turned back to me with an expression that clearly showed his impatience. But I immediately said, because you need to pay back the money. Over the years, our family has spent quite a bit of money on your family, all for the sake of our marriage. Now that you want to break off the engagement, this money must be repaid, right? James completely didn't expect that I would ask him for money. After all, according to my personality, I would be eager to give him money. Thus, he subconsciously thought that this was my way of not being able to let go of him, using money to force him to comply. James looked disgusted, ready to agree immediately, but he quickly realized that in 1997, he had not yet become a respected professor and had no money in his pocket. I know you have no money, so just write an IOU. Here, the paper and pen are ready, calculated at 2% interest, $10 a month, to be paid back over 3 years. Han mother has always taken advantage of our family. Seeing me become so cold and resolute all of a sudden, she hesitated and tugged at James's sleeve, softly advising, son, giving out so much money all at once, can we still manage our family's life? Listen to your mother. You should say some good words to Monica. Otherwise this money might. James looked down on our family for being such opportunistic merchants in his past life. Yet our family had helped him, forcing his self-righteousness to bow down. In this lifetime, he holds back a surge of anger. How could he possibly bow his head to me? Without saying a word, he picked up the pen and began to write the IOU. Mom, please stop. I've already applied for that public-funded study abroad program in the county, and I'm sure I will be selected. By the time I return after completing my studies, I won't even look at the small money they made through their petty schemes. Beside her, Valentina softly agreed, Brother James, though your current situation isn't good, I don't mind, even if Monica holds a grudge and refuses to lend you money. With your own abilities, you will definitely achieve great success in the future. This sentence moved James to the point of tears. Immediately, he arrogantly handed me the IOU. Lifting his chin, I'll pay it back. And let me tell you, without you, Monica, James can still live very well in this life. I took the IOU, not caring at all about James's harsh words. I already had a plan in my heart. Back then, I had a keen interest in business, but James insisted that it was just speculation and would embarrass him. So I reluctantly returned to the family, since I have the chance to start over. And with the current reform and opening up in full swing, I should go all out. In this life, I will only please myself. Moreover, if it weren't for me running around for James back then, how did he think he got that study abroad opportunity? Chapter 3. James really couldn't wait. Just after breaking off the engagement, he couldn't wait to have a wedding with Valentina. Compared to my previous life where I got married in a shabby way with just a piece of red cloth, nowadays Han family is really putting on a show. James is borrowing money just to buy Valentina a wedding dress, and the 4 major items of the betrothal gift are all accounted for. The crowd cheerfully circled around the county town before arriving at Han family's old house. Auntie Zhao in the street saw me staring blankly and immediately spat out, saying, "Ungrateful thing, don't be fooled by his surface glamour. He's buried in debt behind the scenes. He's borrowed from everyone in the neighborhood, promising to pay back double when his study abroad scholarship comes in. But that's just empty talk. And he's even made promises to others. Monica, don't be sad. Auntie will introduce you to someone better in the future." Sad? I don't have time to be sad at all. The next 20 years were the 20 years of China's economic takeoff. I must seize this opportunity and make a lot of money. By then, I will have everything I want, whether it's James Lee, James Zhang, or James Wang. Thinking of this, I hurriedly pushed the goods in my hands forward. Thank you, Zhao Auntie. Auntie, look. This is called jeans. The South is quite trendy with these. Auntie, if you don't find anything you like, I'll give you a 20% discount. Tomorrow my clothing store officially opens. You must bring others to support me. Zhao Auntie laughed so hard at these words that her eyes were nearly closed. But I never expected that while I was stocking up in the evening, I would actually see James and Valentina coming over. TSK, TSK, TSK. You've been busy all day just to manage such a small and old shop. Huh? Forget it. Valentina, see if there are any pants you like for sale. I rolled my eyes at James and said bluntly, our shop only accepts cash. We don't do IOUs. James, feeling his pride hurt, immediately raised his voice and shouted, do you look down on me? Valentina, go ahead and choose. I'll buy it for you. Paying in cash. I looked at the account book without raising my head and mocked. Money borrowed is never painful to spend, but if I remember correctly, Valentina, the dance school you applied to is about to collect the registration fee, right? Valentina's hand holding the jeans instantly drooped, and she tentatively looked back at James. James, the registration fee is $100. These pants just... James was still stubborn, immediately pulling out the money and saying, buy it, if you like it. Just buy it. Monica, don't think that just because you have a little money, we will bow down to you. Valentina, I'm different from someone like you who reeks of money. I wasn't angry at all. Instead, I smiled as I collected the money, gave change, and neatly packaged the pants to hand over. After all, who would go against money? No, James would. As he was leaving, James arrogantly tapped on my counter. Remember to attend the county meeting tomorrow. They will announce my public-funded study abroad notice and distribute a large subsidy. I can pay you back all at once. Open your eyes wide and take a good look. Without you, how will I live? Chapter 4. Yes, without me, could you still become a professor? But I didn't show it on my face. I just responded lightly with a calm expression. The next day, James wore his most expensive Zhongshan suit, exuding confidence. Today, even the leaders from the provincial capital would come. I wonder how much attention he would attract. During this time, many neighbors have been gossiping behind my back about the broken engagement and borrowing money. James endured humiliation and hardship, just waiting for today to finally hold his head high. Han's mother had even been boasting about her son going abroad for half a month, calling out to half the street, with wedding candies tucked in her pocket, just waiting to distribute them. The neighbors couldn't stop flattering her. I've lived for so many years and have never even been to the provincial capital. James is so young and can go abroad. He really has a bright future. Yes, I heard that when he comes back, he can go to the capital to be a teacher, doing scientific research. He'll even be on TV for recognition. In this lifetime, that's quite an achievement. James, when you become successful, don't forget us. If you tell the neighbors, we all get to share in the glory. One flattery after another made James forget himself. James lifted his chin higher when he saw me coming. Next time we meet, you must call me Professor Han. You should take a look at yourself. How can a speculator selling goods be worthy of me? I wasn't angry. Instead, I smiled and replied, Professor Han, show some respect. There are no more speculators now. This is called doing business. James snorted through his nose. Humph. You sure know how to argue. I tell you, from now on, no one will say that I, James, am a heartless man. All you can say is that you are you, Monica, and you are not worthy of me. The congratulatory speech lasted for half an hour, and next came the exciting announcement time. The names of the applicants echoed through the microphone, announcing whether they were selected. Wei Li, not selected. Xia Su, not selected. Sunny, selected. Upon hearing this name, James smiled even more brightly. In the last life, only he and someone named Sunny were successfully selected. It seems that nothing has changed in this life. James. The moment his name was called, all eyes in the room focused on James. He stood up with a proud expression, straightened his collar, and held his body rigid. As long as he was selected, he would still be the respected Han professor from his previous life, the neighborhood's gossip, the money borrowed from home, and even Valentina's registration fee. Everything would be resolved, and he would have the happiest and most successful life. James was even already eager to step forward, his gaze contemptuously sweeping over me. But the next second, a voice came from the microphone. Not selected. Chapter 5. James was frozen in place, unable to believe it as he turned up the volume. What? The host could only awkwardly repeat it again. James, comrade. Not selected. Sorry. Please take a seat. But James still remained motionless. In the end, it was Han mother beside him who disdainfully pulled James Han down into a chair. James was almost slumped in the chair, his face pale as could be. He trembled all over, repeatedly murmuring, "This is impossible, impossible." Once this segment was over, James almost stumbled over to the side. He grabbed the presiding director Wang and immediately began to question him fiercely. Why wasn't I included? Why wasn't I there when I clearly should have been? Is it because you were jealous of my candidacy for the standing committee in your past life, that you are now harming me in this life? Director Wang's sleeve was tugged to the point of distortion by James, and he was genuinely a bit angry at James's mad ramblings. But he still patiently explained to him, "I don't know what you're talking about. Our review is based on scores. There is only one spot, and Comrade Sunny scored 1 point higher than you. So naturally he should be selected first. Comrade James, you are second and also very excellent. You need to maintain a balanced mindset regarding this matter." James has gone even crazier. One? Aren't there two? In my last life, there were definitely two. How can I calm down? This is my only chance to turn my life around. You all better investigate. I can't be mistaken. It must be you who got it wrong. Director Wang's good temper has also been worn away by him. Seeing him too agitated and fearing he would cause a disturbance, they could only have the guards take him out to cool down. James was stopped at the entrance of the auditorium. While Han's mother and the neighbors had already left in embarrassment, he squatted alone in the corner, looking at the announcement of the study abroad list in front of him, laughing and crying at the same time. The expensive Zhongshan suit on him was already wrinkled, and his hair was a disheveled mess, far from the refined image of a cultured person he prided himself on. I watched him go mad until he was exhausted, then stepped forward and asked, "James, do you know why you were chosen in your last life?" James paused for a moment. Then he quickly stood up, his eyes wide open, looking at me in shock. "Last life? Could it be that you also?" I shook my head and smiled, not answering the question but instead continued, "That was what I asked for you. There was only one spot to begin with. In my previous life, I begged Director Wang to give you a chance because you were second place, even suggesting that I would pay for it myself. I can no longer remember how many people I begged, how many doors were slammed in my face, before I was reluctantly accepted. Haven't you always wondered why your money is sent directly to you?" James immediately retorted, "Impossible. You're talking nonsense. That was something I earned through my own true talent and hard work. In my past life, it was your meddling that caused me to be talked about behind my back as someone who got in through the back door." I looked at James, my gaze calm. In the first month of studying abroad, the allowance was 800 yuan, which was all my savings from those years. In the second month of studying abroad, it was 815 yuan. If you don't want me to do business, then I helped others haul coal and picked up cardboard everywhere, saving money from my own mouth. In the third month of studying abroad, Chapter 6, James shouted at me as if he couldn't accept it. "Stop talking. I told you to stop talking. It's like talking about a cow's head and a horse's mouth. Nonsense. Liar." But the shouting grew increasingly guilty, and the volume faded away. James actually knew in his heart that during his time studying abroad, he hadn't sent me a single letter. So how could I possibly know so many details? The only possibility is that what I said was the truth. But he was unwilling to believe it. "You have always had a strong sense of pride since childhood. I hid this from you to save your face." James, But what have I been waiting for? When you returned from studying abroad, you looked at me, your decayed wife, with eyes that were not eyes and a nose that was not a nose. You despised my smell of copper and looked down on my lack of education. You wouldn't even let someone like me step into your study. When I was at my end, I desperately wanted to live. Yet you personally sent me to my death. My chest heaved violently. The grievances and heartaches from my past life were stuck in my chest, unable to escape, and could only flow out wantonly from the corners of my eyes. So James, this is all your own doing. You deserve it. I turned and left, not looking at him again. After taking just 2 steps, I heard James's arrogant voice behind me. Do you think this will force me to bow down to you for the rest of my life? Don't be delusional. Even without you, even if I can't become a professor, I can still live a successful and fulfilling life. Valentina is beautiful and gentle, and she has studied dance and graduated from high school. I don't know how she is 1,000 times better than you. Just wait and see. In this lifetime, you still won't be worthy of me. All right, I'll wait. Monica. Auntie, I am working at the Women's Federation, and I know a young man from the government propaganda department. He is honest and upright. If you have time this weekend, why not go meet him? I shook my head and smiled as I stuffed a pair of socks into Zhao Auntie's plastic bag. Auntie, my audiovisual store just opened, and I really don't have the heart to talk about these things right now. Still, thank you for your concern and for taking care of my business. These are new socks from Guangzhou. I'll give you a pair. Please help me see if they are comfortable. Zhao Auntie pretended to be angry and tapped my forehead. But it's good that you didn't marry that James back then. Otherwise, your life wouldn't be as prosperous as it is now. You probably don't know, but he's just a fallen gentleman now. Zhao Auntie leaned forward and began to gossip in a low voice. TSK, TSK, TSK. He gathered such a large crowd to watch him. But in the end, he wasn't chosen. Don't you think that's embarrassing? Besides, he borrowed quite a bit of money under that pretense back then. Now, although he has been assigned to teach at an elementary school, he only earns 50 yuan a month. But the debts he borrowed, who knows when they will be paid off? And when others kindly introduce him to a job, he still doesn't appreciate it, insisting that others are insulting him. He really thinks too highly of himself. The family is on the verge of starvation, yet he looks down on this and that. It seems one really shouldn't speak ill of others behind their backs. While Auntie Zhao was saying this, James came in with his head down. Without saying a word, he came up and knocked on my counter, speaking in an authoritative tone. Monica, come out for a moment. What is it? You let me out, and I came out. It really seems like you treated me like a free nanny in my past life. I kept a cold face, not even sparing him a glance. The store is busy. I can't leave. If you have something to say, just say it here. James didn't expect me to refuse so ruthlessly, leaving him momentarily speechless. I could only awkwardly pull out a plastic bag from my purse. Inside was the pair of jeans he had bought for Valentina last time. Return this for me. Chapter 7. I looked up and glanced around. I can't return it. This pair of pants has had the tag cut off, has been worn, and has been washed. James refused. Why should I? These pants clearly haven't been worn more than a few times. Why can't I return them? Monica, don't let love turn to hate. Just because you can't have me doesn't mean you should target me. Before I could even retort, the chivalrous Zhao Auntie stepped in front of the counter, pointing at James and began to scold. James, do you have any shame? Who takes back worn clothes and expects a refund? Are you just trying to bully Monica and indirectly ask her for money? Still, love can turn to hate. How dare you? Monica now has 2 stores and is about to become a millionaire. I don't know how many people are eager to date her. Fortunately, you were the one who foolishly called off the engagement. Otherwise, who knows what kind of burden you would have made Monica into. When Auntie Zhao spoke up, the gossip from the neighbors made James unable to lift his head. His face turned red from embarrassment, and he could only forcefully drag me out. It wasn't until we reached the corner of the alley that he finally spoke. Monica, if you don't want to withdraw, you can help Valentina pay the registration fee. I scoffed. Why should I? I am her mother. James actually had the nerve to lecture me. But you were always giving her money in your past life, right? Moreover, she sprained her ankle because of you in her past life and couldn't get into the dance academy. Monica, you are just trying to atone. I didn't hide my eye roll at James. First of all, in your past life, you used the family's money to support her. Whenever I said no, you would throw a fit at me. I agreed out of necessity for the family and the children, which caused our home to be drained by her. Secondly, she sprained her ankle because of her own clumsiness, not because of me. The hospital confirmed that her foot is perfectly fine. Moreover, with her poor dancing skills, only someone like you, whose brain is filled with water, would believe she could pass the exam. James instinctively began to defend Valentina. Don't think you can slander Valentina to justify your actions. She has always been the star of the dance class, and she is definitely capable of passing. Valentina is different from someone like you who only sees money. She is noble and elegant, educated and cultured. She is the one who truly understands me. If it weren't for you, I would have been with Valentina in my past life. But fortunately, she divorced for me in the end. I really couldn't stand his stupidity anymore, so I directly interrupted James. Divorce my ass. It was Valentina who met a wealthy businessman abroad and went overseas, or became a mistress. She was never actually married. Later, when she got older and no one wanted her abroad, you only see how well you're doing in the country now. That's why you suddenly turned back to find her. Do you really believe that nonsense about letting you go for your happiness? You really are foolish. Seeing James looking so angry, I really didn't want to waste my breath with him. All right. I won't say more. In this lifetime, I certainly haven't harmed her by twisting her ankle, have I? Let Valentina take the test once, and then privately ask about her score. Also, since you think your Valentina is so noble, then let's see if, after this lifetime when you have no money and no fame, she still loves you deeply as before. James stuffed the jeans into his bag and said to me fiercely, "Nonsense. Valentina is not the kind of person you describe. I will prove it to you." Chapter 8. Later. I didn't know where James borrowed the money, but Valentina went to take the exam. On the day the results were announced, I was stocking up at the clothing market, and now I had also opened a two-story shop. The business was getting bigger, and I was becoming busier. Zhao Auntie's little grandson suddenly rushed in to find me, saying in a hurry, "Monica, you need to help my mom. That old lady is arguing with her daughter-in-law, and my mom can't stop it alone. She almost got hurt herself." Zhao Auntie is from the Women's Federation and usually mediates conflicts among women. When emotions run high, it's possible for things to get violent. Without a second thought, I rushed out with my grandson, only to find out that the ones arguing were actually acquaintances, Han Mother and Valentina. Han Mother was grabbed by Zhao Auntie, still struggling and pointing at Valentina while shouting, "Little vixen, spending money on clothes every day. Your family has been ruined by you. You're always putting on makeup. But who are you trying to impress? You don't earn a penny, don't do any housework, and just lounge around like a lord at home. James, how could you bring this disaster home?" Valentina, her emotions flared up as she leaned forward and retorted, "That's what your son wants. Besides, I am a dancer. A dancer's hands shouldn't be used for washing clothes or cooking." Han, her anger intensified as she reached out and began to pull Valentina's hair. "He even mortgaged the house, saying it was to pay some registration fee for you. Now you say you didn't get in. How can you face my son? How can you face our family? If I hadn't discovered you washing clothes by the river today, and found you kissing that foreign guy hiding in the small woods, I don't know how long my son would have to wear this green hat." Valentina let out a painful scream and immediately started scratching Han Mother's face in retaliation. The two were in a chaotic fight, unable to part. "Stop! Everyone! Stop! James has returned." With the police intervening, a few people reluctantly settled down to talk. James looked at the crowd surrounding him, layers upon layers, watching the commotion, his face filled with shame and anger. "What are you two trying to do? Do you have to ruin my face? How will I ever hold my head up after this?" Han Mother hugged James tightly, starting to cry and accuse him. "My son, you finally came. This little wretch packed her things and wanted to leave after I caught her cheating outside. When we married her, we were in deep debt. Now that she's found a rich man, she wants to leave. It's utterly unreasonable." James clearly did not respond, but instead coldly questioned Valentina. "Valentina, you told me you were underperforming, but when I went to your school to ask, your teacher said you hardly come to class. Your grades are always at the bottom, and you're getting very close to a foreigner. The one who has always been first in grades actually is your classmate. Valentina, have you been lying to me, or not?" Valentina was somewhat embarrassed and angry. "You actually checked up on me? I'm asking you if you did." Faced with James's questioning, Valentina felt a sense of reckless honesty. "Yes. Since you found out, I won't pretend anymore. What your mother said is true, and what you said is also true, but none of this is my fault. You said you could become a professor, go abroad for studies, and get a lot of subsidies, and then you would succeed. That's why I followed you." Valentina looked at James with disdain and said, "But look at what my life has been like since getting married. The betrothal gifts are impressive, but they are all borrowed. Every month, when payday comes, those debt collectors at home would take everything, even the pots. I can't even afford to put lard in every meal, let alone meat. The only new piece of clothing you have to return. People like you, with no prospects and poor, what do you have besides your stubborn pride? You aim high but achieve little. You won't earn anything unless you lower your standards. Marrying you, I regret it to the core." Chapter 9. Valentina's words stunned James into disbelief. He looked at her with a pleading gaze. "Am I not good to you? Tuition and living expenses. I borrowed money to pay for those. Valentina, although life is tough now, when you married me, didn't you say you didn't care about my family background or whether I had money? You said we would work hard together and make a good life." Valentina let out a cold snort. "You actually believe such nonsense? Without money, what can you give me a good life with? I'm telling you, in a few days I'm going abroad with my man. He's a wealthy man, and he has factories in America. Let's hurry up and get a divorce. I don't want to have anything to do with you, this useless person, anymore." Valentina didn't explain further. She pushed James away and walked out. "You shameless woman, you actually deceived my son, causing our family to bear so much debt. And yet," Han pointed at Valentina's back and started cursing. As she spoke, her anger surged and she began to gasp for breath. She was out of breath, and her body gradually softened. An asthma attack occurred. The next day, James came again. "Monica, thank you. If it weren't for you, my mom might have." I immediately raised my hand and interrupted James's words. "If it were anyone else today, I would have saved them. Take good care of your mom. I still have things to do at my shop, so I'll be leaving now." Han's mother immediately grabbed my hand and said, "Monica, it's all Valentina's fault for being such a bitch. If it weren't for her seducing James back then, you two would have been married. They say true feelings are revealed in times of hardship. And you are a sincere person. I heard you still haven't started dating. Is it? In that case, Mom will take charge. James, you should hurry up and divorce that little bitch and marry Monica. I've heard that Monica's shop is doing well. One of these days, I'll have my wife go help out at the counter. This calculation is off." My previously mild expression immediately darkened. I felt no pity for this old woman anymore. Why should I show compassion and save others? I pulled Han Mother's hand away and said coldly, "It's impossible. My not being married is because I don't want to be married, and it has nothing to do with James. As for him and me, I can never marry him in this lifetime, so you can give up on that idea." I smiled slightly, intentionally trying to annoy Han's mother and James, because I, Monica, will not marry a divorced man. Looking at the pale faces of Han's mother and James, who were so embarrassed they couldn't speak, I felt a great sense of satisfaction. I slightly raised my chin, sneered, and turned to leave, but it seems my rejection did not deter James. The next day, he showed up at the entrance of my cinema with chicken soup. "I figured you weren't at the clothing store, so I guessed you would be here. I personally made some chicken soup. My mom thinks it tastes good." so I'll let you try some. I have never reached out to receive. No need. You can drink it yourself. Monica, don't resist me. Just consider it my way of repaying you, and a way to atone for the wrongs I've done in this life and the last. I shot him a cold glance. Repaying? I wouldn't dare say that. After you achieved success and fame, how many times did you mock me with cold sarcasm, saying, if it weren't for repaying you, how could I marry a woman like you? And all you know is to take advantage. You never think about reading books. If you really know you were wrong, just get lost. The farther the better. I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. Don't let me be tainted with the smell of money, tarnishing someone as noble as you, a scholar. James was left speechless by my words, his face turning bright red. I don't know how long I stood in silence, but when I looked up again, the person had already walked far away. Luna, next time he comes, don't let him in. Chapter 10. During this time, James frequently came to my shop to make his presence known. Fortunately, I had already instructed the staff to keep him firmly outside the door. It wasn't until a week later that he finally caught up with me at the back door of the warehouse. As soon as we met, James couldn't wait to speak up. Monica, I'm sorry. I know I should have said this apology to you a long time ago. I have a strong sense of pride, and having seen me in so many embarrassing and ugly situations, I subconsciously belittled you, as if belittling you would somehow diminish my own past failures. It's only now that I realize how wrong I was. Monica, you are the one who truly cared for me. All those years, managing the household for me, bearing our children. It's a realization that came to me far too late. In this lifetime, I will treat you like a precious gem and be good to you. Do you believe me? This apology feels like a true separation from reality. Is it satisfying? I just feel regretful. How could I have fallen for such a person in my past life, wasting an entire lifetime? I looked at James's still youthful face, and all that rose in my heart was calm. I heard you, but I do not accept it. I cannot forgive you on behalf of my past self. In this life, I have wealth, beauty, and plenty of youth. But what about the last life? I languished in illness for a long time, and you never even glanced at me. 50 years of cold violence, disdain, and infidelity in old age. I took a deep breath and slowly said, you are not proud. You are insecure. You are a coward. You can only gain a sense of superiority by constantly belittling me. You used to say that without you, I could never live the good life I have now. But you, James, without me, are just a pile of dog shit. I pulled an invitation out of my pocket and shoved it into James's hand, using his own words against him. Tomorrow my grand restaurant opens. Remember to come and support. Open your eyes wide and see how well I am doing without you. James didn't come. Perhaps he was hiding in the crowd, watching from the sidelines, but that doesn't matter to me at all anymore. Cutting ribbons, receiving guests, and handling cash. I was extremely busy, with memories from my past life. Modern marketing tactics like 10 yuan off for every additional customer, free fruit for the first 3 days of opening, and 10% off for dining at off-peak hours were easy for me to master. It was only late at night when I was counting money that I occasionally heard Luna chatting with me. Sister May, did you know that James teacher got fired? My hand paused while counting the money. This job can also be taken away? Luna nodded and continued speaking. It's the house that's the problem. Wasn't it the mortgage on the house that paid Valentina's registration fee? As a result, the money has never been repaid, and the company that held the mortgage is not reliable either. The interest keeps accumulating, making it even worse. Not only did we lose the house, but we also couldn't repay the money. The scariest part is that those debt collectors even found their way to the school. Although this is illegal, the children were terrified, and parents complained one after another. So, I lost my job, and now everyone in our area treats their family like a plague. The one who borrowed money before, poking at his spine and scolding him, urging him every day to pay back the money. All the major purchases made at home have been taken away to settle debts. I heard that his mother's asthma flared up and he didn't have money for treatment. I tied the money into a bundle with a rubber band, merely echoing, "Is that so?" This time, there will be no mercy. In the last life, when he pulled out my oxygen tube and sent me down the path to death. I wonder if he ever thought about this day. Let go of the urge to help others and respect their fate. In this life, James has sown the seeds of his own misfortune, so he must bear the bitter fruit himself. Luna, from now on you will be the acting manager of the restaurant here. After all, the market in the county town is limited. During this time, I want to go to the provincial capital to take a look. Chapter 11. The provincial capital is indeed much more advanced. The economy is developing rapidly now. The clothing and audiovisual stores I opened in the county may not necessarily be as popular. But after all, it is the 1990s. Ice skating rinks, karaoke bars, internet cafes, mobile phone shops, computer cities, entertainment centers, and various milk tea shops are what is sought after in this era. Starting from these places, I quickly achieved results. Step by step from MS Sue, Boss Sue, Chairman Sue to now being Entrepreneur Sue. As for James, after arriving at the provincial capital, I rarely heard news about him. Only when my parents returned home for visits did they occasionally mention a few fragments. They say that he is now doing the work he once looked down upon the most, selling toys. They also said that his mother passed away after a long illness. He was chased by debt collectors and ran around in a panic, accidentally getting his leg injured by a car. But mostly, they say that I have succeeded. On television and in newspapers, they say that a great entrepreneur has emerged from the small county town, and neighbors claim to know me and benefit from my success. It was all thanks to my investment. The asphalt road in the county town was the first to be built. I didn't comment, just smiled as I put the new clothes and jewelry on my parents. In my past life, I was a housewife, living hand to mouth with James, and I had no money to buy anything nice for my parents, let alone take care of them. Now, with money and no need to worry about others' opinions, I can't wait to buy the best for my parents. All right, Monica, this jewelry is too heavy to wear. Just wear it, old lady. It's all from our daughter's heart. When we go back, who won't say that our Monica is successful? In the blink of an eye, it has been over 20 years. Perhaps I have lived too happily in this life. I have almost forgotten the events of my past life. Today, while taking my daughter back to the county town to see my parents, I saw a man with a limp pushing a cart selling roasted sweet potatoes, and he looked particularly familiar. Mom, I'm in college outside, and there isn't even a baked sweet potato for sale in the cafeteria. I'm craving it to death. I smiled and stopped the car, taking my daughter to pick some out. The man selling sweet potatoes had graying hair and looked old. With rough hands, the low-quality cotton hat was already fraying a bit, and hunched over, she was stuffing sweet potatoes into the stove, making her look rather gray and dull. It's James. When our eyes met, he appeared particularly awkward, reaching out to adjust his hat in a flustered manner. Monica, long time no see. I nodded slightly in response. When it was time to leave, James insisted on not taking any money, saying it was a treat for the kids. As I was being pulled away, I heard someone calling me from behind. It was my husband, Sonny. He was holding a large bouquet of flowers, smiling as he jogged over to me while opening the car door. There was a seminar abroad that really took up my time. As soon as I got off the plane, I rushed over. I hope our beautiful Ms. Sue isn't upset. Happy anniversary. I shook my head and accepted the flowers. There's no need to rush. It's just an ordinary day. Look at you. You have dark circles under your eyes. Our daughter chimed in. Professor, what are you doing? You're an old married couple now. Why be so mushy? Sonny smiled and pretended to be angry. Hey, to me, your mother will always be a little girl. Sonny pulled money out of her wallet, stuffed it into James's hand, smiling happily and radiantly. $15 for 4. I only have a $20 bill. No change left, so you can keep the rest. Today is my wedding anniversary with my wife. Let's celebrate. Passers-by couldn't help but whisper. This is the love of dreams. Young couples grow old together, their hair turning gray, love unwavering. Hearing this, James's eyes turned red. The three of us turned and walked away. Monica, take the flowers I bought for you first. Come on, Let's all go to the supermarket. The cola chicken wings I made. Your mom used to rave about them. Sunny, don't talk nonsense. I was just surprised. How could someone who holds a pen also wield a spatula? So what? Not only can I use a spatula, but I can also use a broom and a mop. I was amused by Sunny's childish words. My gaze fell on the bouquet he was holding, vibrant and dripping with color. In this life, every petal was carefully cradled in his arms, tenderly cherished.